Alright, I'm going to make a video real quick talking about how to run your sling. Basically, I've been seeing a lot of videos lately on the new Mod 0 BCM. I have one here I'm going to show you about Ranger bands and stuff like that. Keep seeing people run rubber bands and kind of talking what it's about, but basically when you have your AR and you need it to be ready to go, but you don't want it to get hung up on stuff. Let's say this is a truck gun, I have it in the truck, you have a loose sling, it's going to it can hinder you. You can grab, it'll hang up on something, etc. So this is just a Magpul MS1. This is my Daniel Defense you've seen before. I have a few upgrades on it. This is a Strike Industries Viper stock, excellent stock, and like I said, I have a BCM Mod 0 here. But basically I have a 13-inch rail with QD mounts. I have it tight here. You see the sling is tight. It isn't going to interfere with my controls, etc., just because there's a sling there right in the way. So your ping pong paddles right here, all I have to do is just bump it, good to go. Basically, I have a Troy QD end mount right there, and I'm running the QD mount on the other side of the ambi. Some SIGs and FN have it built into the aluminum, which it'll work. I just feel weird putting a steel QD mount onto an aluminum receiver and damaging it. But anyway, like I said, so this is super tight now. I don't have any Ranger bands holding it in place, so as you can see, it's good to go. And now I can, grab my gun. I don't have to worry about it hanging up, or one less point for it to hang up on. But regardless, basically it's a 13-inch rail. It has the QD socket right there, and then I run it around the butt plate, or the butt pad, and then back to the QD end plate. So you don't necessarily have to have it like that, but it'll work on the bottom socket too. But as you can see, it's nice and tight. When I need it, just pull the tri-glides and I'm good to go again. So you can set this up different ways. The Mod 0, like I said, I'll show you here in a second, has a couple different features. But let's say you don't have a side QD end plate. You just have the standard Magpul, BCM, anything like that mag end plate. So as you can see, I ran it down here. At that point, I can run it around my buttstock. Flip the rifle over. So you see the sling, etc., can hang up on much more stuff now. So it's in the regular QD end socket. And then, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Run it around the buttstock, right on the butt pad, and whether it's a blue force gear or anything like that, grab your tri-glide, pull it tight as you can. This is a MS1 sling, which is technically an MS4 sling, but it's when they first came out. So so there you go, super tight. I didn't use any Ranger bands or rubber bands. The difference between a rubber band and, let's say, a Ranger band is basically, Ranger bands originally started as bike tires. You just cut them up, it's got vulcanized rubber, and you can pin the sling, and I said I'll show you here in a second. So, and you can use them for all kinds of stuff. Like, let's say, before they had weapon lights like this, you used to be able to throw some Ranger bands up here, take your flashlight, and it'll slide right into a groove somewhere on your rifle, and the Ranger bands or the bike tires, you can stretch up and over stuff like your butt stock, etc. And it'll hold the light. Put like 3 or 4 of them here, take my flashlight, put it there, slide the bands over, holds it tight. You can also use it on magazines, where you can flip 2 magazines to just kind of flip it, don't have to drop your mag completely free, easier reloads. All this before all the stuff they have now, all the QD things. But anyway, so this is a good way to run it if you just have the regular end plate. The sling's tight, And like I said, I can normally put more force on this if I wasn't doing this one-handed, but then you're good to go. It doesn't interfere with my charging handle. The ambi one doesn't interfere with my forward assist, etc. And then you're good to go. All you do is pull the slack out, and now you got your sling. This Strike Industries Viper is super tight, just like the BCM Mod Zero. Let's see, I'll put my hand pressure here and I'll try to wobble it. It doesn't go anywhere, which is great. It's once you get your length of pull right where you want it, you just basically, just like any other one, you just lock it in place. And this is nice. I think these are like 40 bucks, somewhere in that range, and then it was $14 for the rubber butt pad. They just have a hook on the top and a little screw in the back right there, which makes it great, because if you don't have the rubber, it feels like an A2. But regardless, so like I said, it's pretty simple. I didn't have to use any Ranger bands. If you have a shorter rifle like the SBR, I'm going to show you here in a second, you can't really do that as easy, because there's no real way to put any tension on there. So basically, yeah, and then just pull it tight and you're good to go. And of course, I'm doing this one-handed. But there you go. Now I don't have to worry about it snagging on stuff, and then you can throw it in the safe and it's ready to go. Anyway, so I did a couple things on the Daniel Defense. I put the original rear sight on there. It's the Halo Sun, Hollow Sun, whatever. They work great. They're just like the primary arms. Let's see if I can get that red dot to show. There you go. Stays on all the time. 50,000 hour battery life, and anytime you need it, there it is. And they have these. This has the motion stop, where if it just sits there in a safe, it'll turn off as soon as you pick it up. Turns on. So that's great. Saves my battery even more. But as you can tell, it's very close to the aim points. I just can't afford to put aim points on each one. And then this Streamlight has been awesome. There's double tap strobe. You have your on, that was your momentary, this is your constant on, double tap, constant strobe. But it's been, it's worked. I took it through, not a carbine course, but I took it through a competition course, and it worked great. So, and then night shooting, etc. So my hand stop's set up so I can run it all the way out, grab the rifle like I normally do, secondary, slide my hand, I'm right on the momentary switch. So again, easy way to run your sling, throw it in the safe, no Ranger bands. Okay. Now, if you have a short barrel rifle, like let's say this one, you may not have enough rail space to get this completely tight. So you'll have to use Ranger bands. So this is the Mod Zero. Basically, if your sling's long, whether it's a blue force gear, etc., you can run your Ranger bands to hold the sling tight to the gun. The main thing is you don't want to hit the tri-glides. So like over here, if I were to run it in this particular setup with no QD end plate and the sling's too long, these tri-glides, you don't want it to interfere. So if I yank on the sling and it's right here holding on, if I pull on this, that Ranger band will snag, and it just defeated the purpose. So then you're yanking really hard to try to break this vulcanized rubber. Bike tires are cheap. They work perfect. Just go buy a $5 inner tube and cut it up, and you can use it for all kinds of stuff. Not a rubber band like I've been seeing on some of these videos. So it has a little notch here to keep it from sliding down. These Mod Zeros don't wiggle either. They have the mount goes up and around the stock, your buffer tube, and it's on, so it locks in 3 different places, so there's no movement on this. So these are great. They're hard to slide in and out as well. You squeeze down on here and you can adjust. They're kind of a pain to put on, same thing with the Strike Industries, but once they're on, you're good to go. So get your length of pull where you want it, and then you can go from there. So like I said, I got the Ranger band. The way I had to set this mag pull up because of the single point adapter, etc. for your plate is I had to fold it on the BCM stock because it won't allow you to turn the end the QD mount down, back around, and over, so that way there's no place for it to snag. So in other words, I have to do it again, but if I grab my sling and I'm ready to go, and let me actually put some force on it, I'm good to go. So now I got my sling, I can throw it over my shoulder, etc. So the main thing is, even with this all the way up, like I showed you on the Daniel Defense, I don't have enough room. Bike tire, if it was a regular rubber band, this probably would have broke with me yanking it, which isn't a bad thing, but be nice. You're not going to carry a bunch of rubber bands around most of the time, but you can put these bike tires on everything. Double up your mags, like I said, with the light, etc. So, but the Mod Zero is pretty sweet as far as that, if you have to run Ranger bands. So you see what I mean about it snagging? So I got enough slack on that I can use the sling, but you, with these mag pulls, like Blue Force gear, you wouldn't have that problem, but with these mag pull clips and the tri-glides and everything, it makes it much more difficult. So that's where the bike tire comes into play. If I had two hands on the rifle, that would have came off no problem. So, but regardless, to tighten your sling, get it where you want it, bring it back, pull the slack out, run it exactly how you want it, where you won't get it hooked on anything. Try to get it up and over any tri-glides. And flip it back over and pull the slack out. So, trying to do this one-handed, but the idea is you don't have a loose sling laying around. So I need to pull more slack out. But regardless, that's what the Ranger bands are originally for, not just a sling, but to run your flashlights, etc. So it depends on how you have to fold it and each which way you can do it. You can put them up higher. The main thing is you don't want to get your equipment snagged. You need to use your sling, throw it over your shoulder, etc. That's pretty much it. So you just pull the slack out. So there you go. My sling's tight to my rifle. You can, like I said, still activate everything. But so the Mod Zero is nice. It does have the QD mounts. Everybody's a fan of. If you don't like them, they do have spots for the slings where you can run it up and over. I like these original MS1s that they converted to an MS4 because I can run it as an MS1 or an MS4. They're not, stuck one way or the other. But regardless, so there's a couple different options to run your Sling Tight. And like I said, those Ranger bands you can throw pretty much on anything or anywhere and hold your gear. You got your flares, or you're running glow sticks, etc. You can pretty much band them to everything. Band your knife to your slings, band your knife to your rifle. Keeps your gear together, keeps your mags together. So the Ranger bands with the vulcanized rubber / bike tire is pretty much the easiest way to go. So I think that's about gonna do it. Nope, shouldn't be anything else I need to show you. So like I said, easy way to keep your slings tight. Alright, see you.